Hey guys, it's Hima here, and I've got Chart of the Week, hot stocks and hot topics. That's the best way to describe it because these are stocks that I have been hearing about, you guys have been asking about, and everyone and their mom is talking about them. So I figured it'd be a great time to look at the charts, see if there's price action, momentum action, and more to take advantage of. Today's Wednesday, November 13th, 2019. Now, before we take a look at the charts, important reminder that trading and investing can be extremely risky business. Therefore, it's your responsibility to evaluate any information, opinion, advice, or other content contained in this video. All right, we start with Boeing, which has had a lot of stuff going on ever since the tragic 737 MAX crashes back from earlier this year. And Boeing is taking a lot of action to improve the software and all the other technology in these planes and hopefully get orders back up and get those planes in the air. So that has been a very hot topic of news, and let's look at the chart to see what might feed into where Boeing might go from here. So here's a weekly chart, meaning every candlestick is representing 1 week of price action, and let's take our eyes all the way back to the fall of 2016. Okay, there's this trend line joining the week ending September 16th that connected to the week ending May 19th in 2017. Now look how beautifully that trend line confirmed December of 2018. And we've been trading near it or around it in a very choppy fashion over the past several months. So it's not providing an exact buy or sell point, but it feeds into this idea that, yes, Boeing is in a consolidative mode here in the weekly chart, while from a fundamental perspective, the actual company, there's a lot to be sorted out. So the market's sorting itself out. Now, let's take a closer look at the weekly chart to see if we might get more upside ahead or can still expect some sideways action. So here's the daily chart of Boeing, okay? Each candlestick representing 1 day of price action. And so if we look at that liftoff we had from December and then the gap lower, we've got this price action that's been steadily moving lower. Then there was an attempt to resume higher. It was a bit of a fake out, and then we've come back to retest the lows from August. So what this means that I'm seeing is the following. Number one, there is a area of support here around $320 that is pretty solid. Okay, so I don't think Boeing's falling below that anytime soon. In terms of how much more upside it has, well, it did break this short-term falling resistance trend line, joining the September 25th and October 14th highs, confirmed on October 16th. And right now, we've got a one session this week that broke above it, and we're consolidating, hanging out near it. So I think any short-term dips here might be good opportunities to take advantage of Boeing for some upside because there's a lot of resistance up near 391 to 398. Essentially, 390 to $400 area has a very big ceiling of resistance that we'd need to climb through to get this stock back on track, right? So keep an eye on this trend line, the short-term trend line, and the possibility of dips coming in that might be opportunities to go long. Of course, always considering your risk. And in this case, I think that it's important to keep an eye on the latest low, so this week's low, 345.56 as a protective stop area. Moving along. So last night when I was sitting down in the evening for a little relaxation, a little zone out in front of the tube, if you will, I noticed something interesting. When I turned on my Amazon Fire Stick programming, the first thing it told me was, hey, Disney Plus is here. So I knew that already, that it was coming, but it was interesting that it was in my face, ready for me to sign up for. I did not, but I'm sure many folks are. And as a participant now in the streaming wars, Disney has a lot of potential beyond what it already had with all of its many empires and film and TV and more. So coming to the chart, I had been watching this stock since the summer, looking for a better price to buy down at least 120. It didn't get there. It's now been surging, and today especially really rocketing higher. Now, I still think there's potential to take advantage of this move if and when there's a pause and then a pullback. So let's go look at the daily chart to see when that might be. Because again, look on the weekly chart, we're turning up higher from the bull support power zone. And every time that's happened recently, it's been an opportunity to go long. So again, moving on to the daily chart to refine. So looking at this daily chart of Disney, we are coming up real close to the all-time high from July. I think we're very likely to surpass it. And if we do, then over the coming weeks, my next two upside targets are $150.94 and $156.79. Where do I get those from? Well, I use a technique called GAM projections, and I go into this in detail in the Full Skinny Lifetime tutorials. And that's just two of the levels up ahead. There are more further out, but those are the ones that I think more likely to be hit in the short term. Now, what conditions need to persist for me to think we're getting to those upside targets? Namely, that the low from Monday, 136.21, stays intact. And if it gets tested, at the minimum, I'd want to see this gap from last Thursday's high not be closed. So I would want to see price stay above the high 133.70. And last but not least, Tesla. So Tesla is apparently opening a new factory in Germany. They announced that this week. And right now, looking at the stock price, it's had a pretty impressive recovery after falling out of this entire, almost 2-year sideways range. But now we're coming back into a lot of potential resistance. So if you're not already long Tesla from, say, somewhere below 275, 280, I don't think now is a time to add. I think you need to wait for a potential pullback. Now, here are the specific resistance levels that are potentially going to cap price action if it persists higher. We've got one there, we've got one here, going back in time, we've got one back here, and we've got the highs that are clustering over here. So see this entire band, okay? It goes from about 380 to 390. Very, very important resistance on Tesla. Now, in terms of support, while we're above the low from 309.80, so that's the 1st of November week low, there's potential for this to keep, shooting higher, pause at this resistance and keep going up. But if there's a pause and this market starts to correct lower, I think that's actually a good thing in terms of an opportunity to go long or do an option strategy that would take advantage of upside price action. And I would want to see price action not fall too far below 309.26, but even if it did, that would be okay, so long as it stays above this old high, 266.07. Okay. So where do I think this might shake out? Let me give you a peek into that here. All right, using my market timing techniques that also combine with discovering support and resistance, that's a big if because we don't know if it'll happen, but if Tesla corrects lower from today's session, then I think 296.17 is a good support level to watch for potential formation of a higher low and resumption of a move higher. So that's my look at hot stocks with hot topics going on right now. And I also did a members deep dive video covering what I think are hot stocks, picks off my Skinny on stocks, and that's in the members deep dive portal for those of you who are Full Skinny Lifetime members or 4Zones RSI coverage system members. All right, I'll catch you next time.